Have you felt the energy all around you, or a sensation that's typically not there, and thought to yourself, what is going on? Well, lucky for you, in this show, Master Your Energy, we're going to dive deep and explore the energy going around in the cosmos and how it might be impacting us here on Earth. And also, each episode, you'll gain new tools, perspectives, and ways to connect deeper and deeper with your own energy. And of course, I'm your host, Sarah Wong. After 15 years in being in a corporate environment, I decided to dive deeper into my own energy. And over the last 10 years, I've studied things including emotional intelligence, quantum physics. I also became a Reiki master. And specifically speaking, over the last 4 years, I opened my own business and have served thousands of clients in understanding and healing their own energy. As your guide, I'm honored to be here with you today. Welcome, welcome. We are in the second week of June, and I don't know about you, but this eclipse energy has got me going in many different directions. We are absolutely in eclipse season. A few weeks ago, we had that lunar eclipse, and this week we have an upcoming solar eclipse. And when we're in between those energies, it's a time of realization, surrender, deep clarity, if we give ourselves permissions to slow down and not do. And a lot of my clients have come to me over the last week with this exact feeling. Sarah, I feel really lost. I thought I knew where I was going, but now I'm not quite sure. I have all these other ideas, but I don't really know what to do with them. I'm just feeling uncomfortable. I'm feeling a little exhausted. I feel like I want to start something, but I have no energy. And that's exactly eclipse season. And not only that, Mercury in retrograde, and we're in Gemini, and it's all about the duality. It's all about looking at each side. And so if you feel scattered and all over the place and just unsure, just know that's the energy inspiring us to gain clarity. So whatever is showing up for you, it's an invitation to ask yourself, what is here for me that I can actually use in a way to support me moving forward? And if it's nothing, then nothing is required, and you just need to surrender and trust that whatever you've done is enough. And whatever is to come to you in the next week or so can bring new beginnings, can bring clarity. So on Thursday, we have that new moon in Gemini matched with a solar eclipse. And this energy happens about every 20-ish years. The last one was in 2002. And when this energy is prominent in our universe, it is a very interesting time of revealing the fears, elevating out of those old fears and traumas, our belief systems or old ways. And sometimes in those transitions, it requires another version of us to lead. So that's what this new beginning is. It's like, what version do you want to lead? The version of trust and surrender and co-creator, or force and stress and anxiety? So it's really choose your own adventure. And I say that because if you look even in our reality, I'm in Los Angeles County, and we're, on the brick of reopening and having to find comfort in that, right? There's a lot of dualities. There's a lot of people who are nervous and anxious. It's just in the collective because there's a lot of pressure of moving forward, and a lot of people aren't ready. So it's a reminder that we're still navigating through unknown times. There's no certainty. There's a lot of good clarity. There's a lot of great studies and science and data that we can sink our energy into and gain perspective. But it's all up to the individual to figure out what's best and how you want to navigate your way forward. So this isn't a time to rush or put yourself in a position that you're not maybe ready for. If you don't want to be around a big group, don't do it. It's not time. Give yourself space. It's okay. You have the rest of summer or wherever you're at in the world to explore what that is for you. So just take it day by day. And, when we're Mercury retrograde, it is an invitation to slow down. And we are there until the 22nd of June. So we got some time to slow down still. And I love to say slow down because it's a reminder when we live in a fast paced, ever demanding energy. Oftentimes we have a guilt associated to not doing enough or being enough or knowing exactly how to solve whatever challenge we might be in. And sometimes all that's required is just a surrender. So that is the energy we're in for the next week or so. But with the new moon in Gemini does bring miracles and blessings. It's a great time to manifest with the solar eclipse energy. It's truly that new beginning, that declaration, that setting your soul out there to the ethers and saying, you know what? I'm not quite sure what this is going to be in the future, but I'm going to give it all. I'm going to give it my all. I'm going to give it everything I got and know that's enough. And I don't have to force. I'm only going to do what is truly available for me. So let the next few days just inspire you and open up. If you're exhausted, take a nap. This is nap time because we need to honor whatever our body is asking us to do. If we try to force more, we might end up getting sick or having a nervous breakdown or just needing to take extra time out. So set yourself up to win and just honor whatever's being presented. Now, after this short break, I'm going to bring on a guest who I know is someone that has absolutely been in this energy for quite some time. Not only has she launched her own company during the pandemic, but continues to find new ways to innovate and allow her dreams to lead the way. So after this short break, I'll be back with our first guest to dive in even more. If you're just tuning in to KCAA Radio, the station that leaves no listener behind, or streaming live on the Energy House YouTube channel, this is Sarah Wong, host of Master Your Energy. And this week's episode is all about honoring your truths and exploring your dreams in a whole new way. This week's guest is no stranger to doing whatever it takes to make her dreams come true. Now, Gabriella Paladino, she's not only the creator and founder of Vybe Up, she's also the curator. She makes sure everything that's included in these description boxes are high vibe and really create a way for people to connect to their own energy, their own intuition in a whole new way. And this episode, we're going to explore what is truly required to create a new reality in your everyday life, to pursue those dreams you know you're destined to create. Let's dive in. Hello, how are you, Gabriella? So good to have you on the show today.
Hi, Sarah. I'm great. So excited to be here.
So before you started Vybe Up, what was your journey that led you to really just pursuing your dreams and saying, you know what, I'm ready to just believe in myself and make this happen? I know there's a series of events, but where did it really start for you?
Yeah, I was living in LA and I was working in a corporate job. It was a very, very fast-paced environment, partying a lot and dealing with a lot of anxiety and insecurities and just in my head. And it was getting to a point where I needed help. So I was seeking out talk therapy, but it wasn't really doing it for me. So I started to slowly experiment with the spiritual world. And I would go into little crystal shops here or have conversations with people that were really in it. And I always felt good. And I was like, what is this? And then that's when I started exploring energy work. And I was like, oh my God, there's something to this. So, kept exploring a little bit here and there. And then I had a few life events. I just didn't get a job promotion that I wanted. And then, people at my work were leaving and it just felt like a lot of negative things were happening. So I was starting to think maybe it's time to shift into a different, geographical location. Sometime in between then, unfortunately, one of my really good friends passed away suddenly in a car accident. And that completely changed my priorities and put things into perspective. And it really made me cling on to spirituality. I grew up Christian Catholic my whole life, but I needed something more. So I walked into Energy House in Long Beach, and that's where I met you, Sarah. And, did a few Reiki sessions together, which were just so beautiful. And I wanted to tell everybody about it. 'Cause I'm like, you don't realize we're not just physical bodies. Like we have energy within us that needs some help sometimes. So the one that was pivotal was our Akashic reading together. And I didn't know that I was going to switch careers yet, but you said there's something here and it's something bigger. And
Yeah, just to remind everyone too, if you're a new listener, and have tuned into every Tuesday, Akashic is an energy vibration around Earth that helps us access our soul memories, and it could be anything from, our soul purposes. We have many, to, our true passions, our gifts, our abilities. So, when Gabriella and I met, it was definitely a time of transition. I remember your energy. The first thing you said was, I just have really bad anxiety and I just want to feel good. And I remember just being there in that experience, knowing like, oh, you feeling good is actually you believing in yourself and moving in a way that you feel ready. And, just to go back real fast to when you said your friend passed away, what was, a real clear moment for you of saying, you know what, I'm ready to just live life for me, because maybe he couldn't, but I know I can. And me doing this could be also honoring his life. Was there a moment in time that you really just sunk into that knowing that was required?
Yeah, I would say it was a week after the actual accident, after the shock of it and, the intense grief that came with it. And then there was a clarity moment when I was at my parents' house, and I was just like, this isn't it. Like, life is not meant to just, because I took work off and I had never taken that much time off. And I was gone from the office for 2 weeks. And I was like, there's more to life than just going to work. And he was very into astronomy, which is funny because my box has a lot of astrology components to it. And he just had this huge life to him, and you could feel him when he walked into the room, and he always lived life every day like it was his last. And I was like, there's something to that. And I want to honor him and make him proud. And I'm going to figure out what I need to do to kind of spread joy like he did for everybody.
That is, the true gift of life is to be that lighthouse, that be that inspiration. And I always say that people that leave us they know they're messengers, and their lives mattered. What they created in that lifetime, however short, however long, it mattered and left an imprint, an inspiration for us to leverage. So if anyone's listening that lost a loved one, whether it be 5 years ago, 30 years ago, or recently, let them be an inspiration. They're sending messages with every encounter we had with them, and reflecting back on that is crucial to the healing process. So just wanted to shine a little light on that, because that's what I heard you say, at least, is he gave you that permission to say, wow, I could live like that too. He did that. And you know what? In order to honor his energy, I'm going to continue that vibration and match it and apply it to my life. So thank you for doing that too, because that's a really healthy way to look at transition, but also honor someone by pursuing and giving yourself that permission to explore your dreams too, and knowing how much your life matters, because you're still here.
Yeah.
And they would want you. He would want you to, right? He would want you to shine. He would probably be like, yes, this is so cool, and I'm sure you hear that inside of your heart, like knowing that's exactly how he feels too.
Yeah, definitely.
So after, you moved into connecting more to your soul and, working with energy, working with Reiki and Akashic, and learning astrology, because that's another part that you dove deep into, is learning astrology and connecting with the universe. What were some things that opened up for you?
Yeah, It definitely opened up an understanding of, or just a different level of understanding myself, and then being able to understand people around me, even just through the modality of astrology. But my biggest takeaway from it was everyone's just seeking some way to feel good or feel better, or, you know, without even consciously knowing it, everyone's just trying to we'll just call it get their mood higher, when in reality
Yeah.
that all translates to energy. So I was just having ideas come through during that course, actually. And I was like, you know what? I want more people to have access to this. And that's where the box idea came in. I'm like, what if we could put all these little tools into a box and explain how to use them? Because a lot of people, I think, are interested in spirituality, but it doesn't seem as approachable, or it might seem even a little taboo to some. And it's so
Mhm.
not that. I feel like everyone can benefit from it. So it started with a different kind of box, and it grew into another type of box. And then now, it's evolved multiple times to what it is today. But I decided to just dive deep. And after a few months of contemplating and looking at my financial situation, I went all in and I quit my job and then became Vybe Up everything.
Yeah. And you did it during the pandemic.
Yeah.
That's another pivotal thing is you didn't just wait until the pandemic's over. You said, nope, this can be now. I can do this now. So how was knowing that you launched during pandemic, what were some challenges that you came up against being a new business owner and launching in those times?
Yeah, I would say I was blessed with the gift of time.
Hmm.
So that was a positive out of that, as most of us, or a lot of people had a lot more time on their hands, so I could create ideas a lot easier without distraction.
Yep.
However, some challenges were just sourcing. Since you couldn't meet people, everything was obviously virtual. And I went from an environment where outside sales, you meet people every day, all day, and that's how you gauge whether or not you want to work together. So I would say just having to be home all day was the biggest challenge while trying to grow something that's going to be a physical product.
Yep. Definitely. And what were, some indicators that this was possible, that, even times when you felt overwhelmed by it or maybe had to, set back your launch date? What were some nuances that made you feel a little like, will this work? But for some reason you were able to surrender and push through. Do you remember, like, was there a moment in time where you just surrendered and trusted that this is going to launch when it's exactly needs to?
Yeah, I had sent out just a very small amount of test boxes in between that launch period. And the overwhelming feedback was that people were so excited about it and they wanted to know even more info than was included in the box. And they're like, this is just something so different that I've never seen. And so I had to call them and ask for direct feedback. And then once I would have individual conversations, I'm like, there's something here. And everyone always said, they're like, you have something here, like keep pushing through.
Mm-hmm.
And you said the launch date, because the launch date did get pushed back quite a few times. And that was my internal pressure I was putting on it. No one else knew when it was supposed to launch. Only I did, but I was putting
Yeah.
so much pressure. And I finally was just like, it's going to happen when it's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. That's so important because sometimes, in life, it's that divine timing. We think
yeah.
like, oh, I need to do it on this date, or I need this to happen at this time, or in order to not be in this challenge, I need to create this much by this time. And yes, that would be nice, but not the only solution. And being mindful of, what pressures are we putting on ourselves that is making this even harder. So
Yeah.
I think that's a constant with entrepreneurship too. It's like you're constantly, like for me at least too, it's, I'm putting all these external pressures on myself of what I think I need to be doing versus just doing and exploring
Yeah.
what's necessary and creating value, really just focusing on the value. Because I always say success, money, it's always a byproduct of value. So if you anchor into value,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna get those byproducts. It might not come, at the speed you need, and your
Right.
your ego thinks you need, but it will
Mm-hmm.
come with, due time and consistency. So that
Yes.
is definitely crucial. And, one of the biggest things I would say about your journey is what was, knowing you were ready to just break free of corporate, what was one of those moments in time where you took the leap of faith and you're flying into your vision, right? And you could see it. What was the moment where you knew like this is worth it? This is worth going for?
Once I had already decided to make the jump,
Yeah.
once I saw the box, once we had all the products and I put the first box that was going to go out together, I just was like, this is it. This is going to make a difference. And this is something really special. And I think just seeing, because it was months and months of ideas and planning and roadblocks and back and forth and, having to pivot and then seeing it all, I knew it was something.
Yeah. That's awesome. I feel like once you like see your vision in tangible form, it's like, wow, I did this and
Yeah.
here and yes, it can grow and evolve like you mentioned. However, the starting point, that's a huge moment when we actually manifest our dreams and create something from them.
Yeah.
It is an activating energy. So creation is so crucial.
Mm-hmm.
If we're consuming, that's going to overload our system and dependency of outside sources of fulfillment. When we actually find balance in creating and consuming, we can actually apply, knowledge and feel in a different way. So I always say it's such important monitor to see like how much am I consuming and how much I'm creating, and acknowledging our creations are huge, because sometimes we create and we just, oh, no big deal, right? It's, oh, that was easy, but to actually acknowledge it and say, wow, this matters. And I'm so grateful I put all that time and energy into it. And yes, it didn't necessarily hit every goal I had, but it's here and I know where it can go. So what is one thing, you're less than a year launched? You launched in, was it August last year?
The first box went out in November of last year.
November. That's right. Yeah. So, wow. So you're like, what, a good 6-8 months in?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing. It takes 5 years usually for businesses to really take off, and to be in your first year is probably the hardest because there's a lot of redoing, uncertainty, having to pivot, having to make changes, having to address differences. So there were some changes you made already. What are some of the big changes that you made over the last few months?
I mean, well, we had a huge internal change. So my partner and I, we're cousins. So luckily it was a very nice split, but I made the decision to buy him out. So that was a huge change, which ended up being a very positive thing because it just changed the energy, and now it can be 100% the original concept, we'll call it.
Yep.
With that, though, choosing vendors became even more important to me, and making sure that I know where the products are coming from and making sure they just feel really good instead of, I would say, look good. And one specific product that keeps coming to mind is our candles. They look really good, but I knew when we were first talking to the vendor, I'm like, it doesn't feel as good as I want it to. And I should have listened to myself. And that was a lesson I learned, but I like staying local. And this next box coming up in August is going to be the first one that's 100% created from me and from my concept. So I'm excited about that.
Beautiful. And good for you for making those changes and honoring your vision and honoring like, no, I know where this can go and I don't maybe need a partner anymore, or, this just requires my energy. And sometimes that's hard because when you launch a business, you want it to be like, okay, this was the plan and the master plan. And really in reality, it's that master plan is like Play-Doh. It's constantly being massaged and, might even change color. Some pieces might dry out. So it's, honoring the creation versus forcing the plan or forcing the vision of what you thought is. and should be. So when we come back from the commercial break, we'll dive into the boxes, the creation process, and some of the early feedback you've gotten from your clients and users of these boxes and tools, and really talk about the items because they are. Vybe Up is probably one of my favorite subscription boxes out there. So if you haven't had a chance, make sure to search them. They're also on social media as well. So tons of content. So we'll be right back after this commercial break to dive in even more on this amazing box. We'll be right back. If you're just tuning in to KCAA Radio, the station that leaves no listener behind, or streaming live on the Energy House YouTube channel, this is Sarah Wong, host of Master Your Energy. And this week's episode is all about honoring your truths and exploring your dreams in a whole new way. This week's guest is no stranger to doing whatever it takes to make her dreams come true. Now, Gabriella Paladino, she's not only the creator and founder of Vybe Up, she's also the curator. She makes sure everything that's included in these description boxes are high vibe and really create a way for people to connect to their own energy, their own intuition in a whole new way. And this episode, we're going to explore what it's truly required to create a new reality in your everyday life, to pursue those dreams you know you're destined to create. Let's dive in. And we're back. So today we have Gabriella Paladino here from Vybe Up, and I'm so honored to be a partner of Vybe Up. Not only do I get to be a subscriber, I get my monthly box and I love it. I'm also a part of the team and support Gabriella in exploring the energy. So we thought it'd be fun to take you through our process of what we do to curate these products. And, you know, we really do it with the intention of when they're being launched, what energy they're being launched in. However, these are energy tools. So they're always good for whatever time, no matter what. So even if you go to past boxes that a lot of people do go by, they're just always relevant tools, and everything from crystals to oils to tea to accessories to support you with your energy clearing needs and spirituality. And some people think spirituality, like, you know, what is spirituality? And there's some taboo energy around it, but really spirituality is just a connection to your own energy, and it's personal. There's no one way of this is spiritual and this is not spiritual. It's everyone has their unique connection to their own energy, their higher self, their soul, their heart, and that's really being spiritual. So these tools are all about helping connecting even deeper to those areas of your intuition, that higher guidance, or just feeling calm. So we thought we'd dive into the process. And Gabriella, let's have you kick it off, since you're the curator and really the voice of Vybe Up. So when you create these sessions of calling in the energies, you know, where do you start in putting your efforts and attention into building out the boxes?
Yeah, I mean, you said it yourself. You're such a huge part of the process, and I'm so grateful to work with you. And you were actually a big part of the inspiration of what goes into it. And so the part that I love is when we're deciding on what crystals, we just kind of go in and, you know, we say a few names, then we actually work with the energy and see if they feel right. But my favorite part is the description cards that you put into the bags included with the crystals, because I'll never forget that when I first walked into Energy House, is that all of the crystals had the little cards that explained the energy and how to work with them. So I was like, I want this. This is such an important part of it.
Yeah, I grew up, I loved rocks. My great aunt actually had all these crystals in her front yard, and I would just spend all my time out there with them. I loved them, and I would just play with them because I thought they were beautiful, but they felt so good. And so when I was in corporate, actually my downtime, I would go to crystal shops too. And I would just like spend hours there after meetings, just because I'm like, oh, I just like learning about the crystals. I like reading about them and understanding how they work. I love chromotherapy, which is working with color energy for healing. So all crystals have a color vibration. So I started studying that more and more and more. So when I opened up Energy House, I knew exactly, like, every crystal needs to have an intro card so people know the energy. And, you know, working with Vybe Up took it to the next level, because, you know, Gabriella will come together pretty much like every few months, and we'll look at the upcoming months and reflect on, you know, what people need right now and what big events are happening. And, what tools would be supportive for them to leverage during those big moments. And I will say I love us for doing that because it's no mistake. I get my box and I'm like, oh, thank gosh, we created that tool because I need that now. And it's
Yes.
always so relevant. So, it's a very intuitive process, and it's definitely co-created with your energy and my energy. And anytime you get with someone who you vibe with, right? So, right, what's happening right now in the collective too is like new friends
Mm-hmm.
and new relationships to cultivate, and it's really alignment energy. So people that have the same interests, the same point of view, the same kind of ambition, and it's building that tribe, right? It's building that team around you that is of like-minded. So anytime you get with like-minded, you can actually access your higher self so much easier. When
Mm-hmm.
you're around energy that's polarized energy. So, maybe it's, someone has a different point of view, or they might have a different approach to their energy. They might be a little heavier, like, some people call it sarcastic. Like, I'm just a sarcastic person, and
Yeah.
it's not that they're negative, but maybe that sarcasm makes you feel you have to filter yourself, or so you feel this energy block, right? And so that actually blocks us from our higher self, and it puts us in our lower consciousness, so like our ego. So our ego usually goes to that sniffer, right? Like, what do I gotta sniff out?
Yep.
And so the reason I'm saying all this is, when you're creating, it's important to create with vibrational matches, because you want to be accessing your higher self. You don't want to just be stuck in the ego, because that's the other part of the business, right? The ego is
Yep.
going to be, and it's important. They all matter. Some people put the ego down, right? And it's not about controlling the ego. It's actually just allowing the ego to have a back seat versus the front seat, or most of the time the driver's seat.
Yeah.
So the ego gets the back seat because it still matters, but it's not the driver. The driver is presence and heart and
Mhm.
awareness. So what I love about the process we do is we just go into our heart and really just think openly what will truly serve.
Yeah.
So, and my other part that I love is we look at the crystal energy, and then we also look at the plant energy. So essential oils, we create custom blends together. We
Mhm.
work with the essence to support others in connecting to those energies. So every single item, the crystals and the oils, you're going to get a description of what it means, and then on the backside, how to use it. So how to use it every day. So what are some stories you've heard from your clients on how they use the tools and how it's supported them throughout the last several months?
Yeah, I have two that come to mind. One was yesterday, my friend's, he's 5 years old. It's her stepson. And she says every time he comes over, well, they get so excited when the box is there and they're like, what goodies are in? And this is her husband and now her stepson. And she's like, he comes in and he's like, I just want to he's like, can I please go get an oil roller? And she's like, okay, go pick out your favorite color. And they have them lined up by the TV. And she said he rubs it on his wrist and then he rubs it on his temples. And then he's like, it just makes me feel so good. And so that was just like the cutest feedback
Mhm.
story I'd heard. And then
Yeah.
another one, I was with some friends and I didn't even know he had ordered his mom a subscription. And she's like, by the way, or he said, by the way, my mom is the biggest fan of Vybe Up. She gets so excited every time there's a box. And she says it's her favorite box to get. And she uses all the tools together as rituals sometimes, but she's like, and then she likes carrying everything around her when she's at work, and she carries her oil roller in case she gets stressed. So it's just fun to hear how people are actually using it. And it's, it's almost crazy to think that like Vybe Up was created, in my house, and now it's all over the place. And Vybe Up is in the homes of, so many people, and that just, it's really cool.
Yeah, it's so cool. I love hearing you say that. It's your love is out there, and your knowledge and the tools, because you said yes and continue to say yes. That's the hardest part, right? Is, a lot of people, especially entrepreneurs, I don't think a lot of us talk about this pretty openly, but there's a lot of, your first year, all the money you make goes right back into the business. So it's not like, oh, I'm just making all this money and life is good. It's actually probably the harder part because you got to believe in the vision and continue to invest in it and
Mhm.
nourish it and, probably have to do whatever it takes. Some people get many different jobs to continue to curate and pour into it, but it does require a lot of energy. And as you mentioned, there's changes and the
Mhm.
changes require energy, usually money,
Mhm.
and always unexpected, and that's also life. But being an entrepreneur, sometimes there's a misconception that you just make money and it just works,
Right.
and yes, it can, and hopefully it gets to that point sooner than later, but there's still a time where you just got to keep pouring in and do whatever it takes. So continuing to say yes to the vision, not getting discouraged by the lack of results or having to, put all that profit right back into the business,
Yeah.
I think is the crucial part, because that's where some people could get hung up on and feel like I failed, or I'm not doing something right. I
Yeah.
know your dog's just agreeing
I
with
know.
us, so he's like,
There you
woof,
go.
yes.
Yep. Yeah, that is, I was having a moment like that a couple months ago, and you really helped me through it because you could see this financial mountain building in the other direction, all this money going out, and it gets scary. And it seems like, all right, like, I mean, I had the thought I might just throw in the towel and go back to corporate America because I'm accumulating all this debt. And right when you think you're getting on top, then, you have to put it back in. But you completely helped me get over that hump and said, this isn't like a short term, this isn't a 2-month thing. This is the long game. And Vybe Up is successful and it's going to be great. And you have to just completely change your mindset. So I went and got a serving job at night just to help
Yep.
supplement. And it took some of the pressure off, but it's a constant battle. Not constant, but you have to
Yeah.
talk yourself up a lot to make
Yeah.
sure that you keep going.
Yep.
So thank you for that conversation.
Always. And, it's important. I always say you got to believe more in your vision than anyone else and not give up on it, because you're the driving energy. And any entrepreneur, business owner, mom, dad, whatever energy you're running for your household, for your business, for your life, for your animals, you got to believe in it, even if there's uncertainty. It's that balance though, right? It's the balance of saying, okay, I know I'm here, but this isn't forever.
Mm-hmm.
And I know what's required of me. And I know that those are what I need to do. And I also know that there's a lot I don't know and
Mm-hmm.
opportunities that can come out of nowhere, right? And
Yeah.
open up a whole new way of distribution or monetization. So it's always being in that flow and surrender. And to me, that's the energy we're in now, is surrender. It's no longer force. It's no longer, it has to be this way. It's almost like we have the North Star and
Mm-hmm.
we keep marching towards that North Star, but we also are open to knowing like we can go right or left or, any direction we need
Yeah.
to, and still head towards that vision and know that maybe it just looks a little different than I originally thought. And
Exactly.
even with my business, the more I detach from my original vision, the more it opens up for me in new ways. And
Yeah.
giving myself permission to explore those, it's hard because my ego wants to be like, but that wasn't the original vision. This is what we need to do. Right. And it's saying, you know what, though, we're in a different reality.
Mm-hmm.
When I opened my business, it was this reality. Now it's not. So who do I need to be, and really, who am I here to serve?
Yeah.
And so Vybe Up was an amazing partner for me because it gave me a chance to still serve and in a whole new way, right? But if I wasn't open because I wanted to keep everything mine,
Yeah.
that could have blocked this amazing partnership. So let us be an inspiration for anyone that's out there and maybe feeling like overwhelmed or feeling like they have to do it all. Sometimes you just need some good partners on your team to be there during the journey and see your vision, respect your vision, and want to be a part of it in a wholehearted way because it's out there and now more than ever before. So if you have an idea and you have some friends that you know would be good partners, get them together. This new moon energy is all about that collaboration, all about breaking through the fears and moving in a direction that actually serves you. So take it for whatever's available if you have the energy, and if you need that clarity to open up, give it a few weeks. So after Mercury goes direct at the end of June, we're going to have a lot of more clarity come in. But right now we just might have to work through the muddy waters and not get too lost, and not get sucked into it, and just stay balanced, whatever that means for you. So
Yeah.
what are some of your favorite Vybe Up tools?
I love the crystals. I have one right here. I've been holding it the whole time just because it's something I use every day. I just carry it on me, and whether it serves as a physical reminder or I'm using it as an actual tool to help balance myself, I just love it. And then the oil rollers, just because, again, I can carry this in my purse. And if anyone's feeling a certain type of way, I just give this to them, and it's something that I can easily share with people. So those are two of my favorite. And then my all-time favorite item would be the amethyst crystal water bottle that was in the first box.
Yes. I have mine right here. I use it every day.
Yes, there it is.
And it's glass. This is my favorite to make moon water in, non-eclipse moon water. Some people like to make eclipse moon water. Actually, some people make solar eclipse water, and they call it Breakthrough New Beginnings. I've never done it. I've always kind of been told to stay away from working with eclipse energy because it has that duality to it.
Yeah.
But I was like really curious because it's Gemini new moon energy. So I'm like, I don't know, maybe I'll try some solar eclipse water and see. So you put it out right during the solar eclipse, which is in the morning, and then you drink it right after. And it's supposed to bring in like new ideas or miracles and blessings. So if that vibes with you, you can check it out, try it out for yourself. But I do love the water bottle and all the tools. Like usually you give really good tools to use for tea and water, and like, the tea blends you include every box too are really delicious and really good ingredients. I believe you work with, it's called Zen Teas, right?
Yeah, Zen's Tea House in Santa Fe Springs and Downey. They're amazing.
Yeah.
I love that process too. We go in and see based off the seasonality of the ingredients, and they're just amazing, amazing people to work with. So that would be another favorite too.
So if you're looking for something to come to each quarter, which has tools for you to use for that specific energy or whenever you're being called, check out Vybe Up. What is the website for Vybe Up?
It's VYBE, so Vybe and then -up.com.
Perfect. And if you're watching on YouTube, there's a link below too. But if you're listening on the radio, I wanted to make sure they had that to check out all your amazing products. Yes, the amethyst water bottle is on there, and it's glass, which is awesome. So if you're looking for a new high vibe water bottle, I highly recommend it. It also has a compartment where you can change out the crystals. So if you have your own crystals, you could put your own in there, which I think is pretty cool too.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to share about Vybe Up or your experience working, with Vybe Up and through these last several months with all the different tools? Anything else you would like to share?
Yeah, I would just, close it up by saying on a Vybe Up message, I just really want to, again, we talked about this a little bit, make spirituality very approachable and easy for anyone that's even remotely interested in it. Because like you said, spirituality it's unique to each person, but it's important to incorporate it just because the only people that, can make ourselves truly feel better are ourselves. And I feel like these tools at least open the door and the pathway to do that and to open up a spiritual practice. So that would be my closing thoughts on that. And then for anyone that's in maybe a job or career that they're not super happy with, it's beyond possible to continue to achieve dreams and go after what you want. You don't have to know exactly what it is now, but take the risk, take the leap, talk to people, and just keep exploring.
This is the time, 2021 is the year of breaking free from what no longer serves. And the more we can give ourselves permission to detach from, what was to what we truly want and want to create, we can definitely create our own reality. And master your energy is, it's not only about, it's like, oh, I'm going to master my energy and I got life figured out. It's actually mastering the moments, right? And asking
Yeah.
each moment, where am I being guided and what is here for me? And to me, that's being in tune to our higher self and our ego and being able to decipher between which is what, and being able to connect to our inner consciousness in new ways, working through our blocks, our subconscious. And there's so many different modalities, like you mentioned. There's meditation, there's exercise, there's earth, there's crystals, there's oils, there's tea.
Mhm.
There's so many different energies out there that are always supporting us in different ways. And if we just build our own relationship, which is why I like Vybe Up, it's really just an invitation. Literally, when you open the box, it's like, take a breath, take a moment to just connect, not just open up, the next Amazon purchase. These are all tools that have meaning, have energy for you, have knowledge to activate and explore. And if you're like, I want to like become my own energy master, that this is a good way to start. Or even just meditation, because in meditation, a lot of people think sitting down, closing your eyes, and just being zen.
Mhm.
Well, I will say this, in this pandemic energy, doing that form of meditation is almost impossible. And the reason why is because we're in a time of massive unknown, change and transition. And
Yeah.
that's hard to that's why anxiety is almost everywhere.
Yep.
And a lot of people are working through feeling anxious or overwhelmed or exhausted. And so when we're in these energies, it's important to just ask yourself, what do I need? So meditation is really tapping into your personal needs. Some people meditate by hanging upside down,
Mhm.
working out, going on hikes, listening to music. So meditation could be whatever calms the mind and allows your body to relax and not live in this state of fear or panic.
Mhm.
So again, if you're looking for tools, Vybe Up, it has many different tools to support you. So check them out, Vybe Up. So it's Vybe Up, vibe/up.com. And, also I would say, if you follow Vybe Up on Instagram, we do full moon updates. We do, different things with the tools too. So if you're looking for a community, Gabriella's done a great job of cultivating that as well. And it's fun to hear how people use the tools and just come together once a month to connect to like-minded, talk about the energy, use the tools in different ways. I
Yeah.
believe last full moon, we used the candles to do a
Mhm.
release. So, every full moon we do something a little bit different. So definitely check Vybe Up on Instagram as well. Any last words of wisdom?
No, I love everything you said. I think this is the time to, I mean, if you are thinking about something and something's constantly coming through and you're just getting a feeling, I would say honor that and explore it. And that's was the start for me. I was just at my job, and every time I would have a meeting, I'm like, this doesn't feel good anymore. So if it
Yeah.
doesn't, start exploring it and honor
Yeah.
that.
You don't have to decide. You can just ask what is here.
Yes.
And it might not be quit the job. It might be take a vacation and start
Yeah,
there. So I love
exactly.
how you said that too. Well, thank you, Gabriella, for being on the show today. It was such an honor. And with that, I'll see y'all next Tuesday with another energy update and more tools and wisdom to share. So with that, have a powerful week and I'll see you soon. Thank you for tuning in to Master Your Energy here on KCAA Radio, the station that leaves no listener behind. And also streamed live on YouTube on the Energy House YouTube channel, where you can also find live activations, meditations, and other content to support you on your energy healing needs. If you're looking for services, products, tools to go even deeper, please make sure to check out energyhouselb.com. That's energyhauslb.com. On that site, you'll see a list of services, products, and so much more for all things energy, mind, body, and soul. With that, have a powerful week, and I'll see you next Tuesday at 4 p.m. on KCAA Radio and YouTube Live.